It's the Mustang Insider Show. Now, here's Chris Sylvester, the voice of the Mustangs.
What's going on, Cal Poly fans? I'm Chris Sylvester. Welcome to another edition of the Mustang Insider. A lot of good things happening around Cal Poly athletics, especially on the hardwood, as we get ready for the Big West Conference season. Well, a little taste of it. We'll play two Big West games on the men's and women's side in hoops this week. Then we'll pause conference play, go back to some non-conference action, and then really get the ball rolling with the bulk of the Big West slate when the calendar flips to 2025. A historic win for Cal Poly. I think that's where we should start over the weekend up at the farm in Palo Alto against the Stanford Cardinal, ACC newcomer. Yes, Cal Poly, they haven't played many ACC programs in their little more than 3-decade Division I history, but quite a feat to get one in Mike DeGeorge's first season, first month as Cal Poly's head coach. I ought to get this right before Saturday, before we take the air for that CSUN Cal Poly Big West home opener, but ought to be the first time in a long time that Cal Poly has won 5 games in the first calendar month of the year. I mean, truly remarkable when you think about it. You knew this team would be much improved after they hung around with San Francisco on opening night up at War Memorial in the Bay Area, then gave Cal a good half or so, and then Arizona State took that team that's right on the cusp of the top 25 right now down to the wire. A respectable showing against St. Mary's, and then really getting over the hump against Stanford to get a lot of national attention. And quite honestly, it's due for this program. It's been a long time since this has been a winning Cal Poly men's basketball program, and it's great to see the type of start that this regime and this season is off to. Before we are joined by that man right there, Owen Coots, we'd like to remind you that award-winning, high-quality, safe medical care that you can trust is just around the corner at French Hospital Medical Center, proud supporters of Cal Poly Athletics. Learn more at dignityhealth.org/French Hospital. Here's Owen Kuntz. All right, so the reigning Big West Player of the Week, also the Lou Henson National Player of the Week award winner, given to the nation's best player in mid-major college hoops each week, Owen Kuntz, joining us. And it was about this time last week you were doing this against Grambling State at home, and then you go up north and pick up a signature victory. Thanks for taking some time out of the first week of conference play. I know it's a big week for you guys. You can only celebrate that Stanford win so much with a couple of important games on the horizon. UC Davis on the road Thursday, and then back home to host a really quality CSUN game, and we'll talk more about that as we get into it. But man, I mean, to take me through this first month of the season. I mean, obviously you guys created such a big winning culture in Grand Junction at Colorado Mesa, but did you expect that to translate to the type of results we've seen, just 1 month in?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we never really knew, but we were always eager to find out. And we have the confidence to think that we can go out there and do this. We can prove ourselves that we belong at this level. And we're here to fight. We want to prove ourselves, and I think so far we have, but we definitely have a lot more to go. And so, yeah, I'm excited for what's to come.
Would you say personally that this is the best stretch of basketball that you've played in your college career? I mean, you dropped 30 on Stanford, you had 17, including this nice dunk earlier in the week against Grambling State. We mentioned the awards that you've been able to bring home here. Is this the best that you've seen yourself play?
Yeah, I think so. We've been putting in the work with our coaches in practice and outside practice, and just every year I'm trying to get better. So just because I'm scoring a lot of points or getting the accolades and stuff, I wouldn't say that necessarily means that I'm playing the best basketball I've ever played. But I do know, just from putting in the work and just based on how I feel out there on the court, just being comfortable and playing against the highest competition right now, that you know I think it probably is the best basketball I've played. And the more that the progress we keep making as a team, I think it's going to be the best team ball I've ever been a part of as well. We definitely have another level to get to, but hopefully you'll be seeing that soon.
Yeah, I mean, conference play, it's kind of crazy how you take a little dip into conference play, you go back to non-conference action, and then you'll really get into the Big West schedule with 18 straight conference games right after the calendar flips to 2025. Now, once upon a time, you were a Division I college basketball player, walk on at Colorado, your freshman season in your home state, and then you made the decision to transfer. Played 3 seasons under Mike DeGeorge at Colorado Mesa, all conference player last year. So you saw your production kind of tick up with each year with the Mavs back home in Colorado. But what's this full circle journey been like for you to, I mean, what went behind the decision to walk on at Colorado, and then what went behind the decision to wind up at Mesa where you saw a lot more time?
Yeah. Growing up, so I grew up 20 minutes east of Boulder. And so I just always wanted to be a Buff. I've had a lot of family go there, and 5 generations of family going to be Colorado Buffaloes, and I was just ready to be the next generation. So it was always kind of my dream, and it was always also a dream to play college basketball at the D1 level. And so that's just where I naturally teetered towards, and wouldn't accept anything else really. But after that first year, which was a great experience under Coach Tad Boyle, um, I realized that maybe I wouldn't get some playing time for a few years or maybe a couple years, and I was just ready to hit the court again, ready to compete. And that's when I hit the transfer portal, and Coach DeGeorge was one of the few coaches that reached out to me. Um, and so we just took it off from there, and that was a great experience as well. 3 years with DeGeorge at Colorado Mesa. Learned a lot about the game. Really just got to understand basketball through DeGeorge's eyes, and I've been able to grow as a player, grow as a leader, and that's what I'm bringing to this college here at Cal Poly now. Just being a leader on the floor and off the court, just for these younger guys, trying to kind of build a culture from the ground up, and just make some noise.
You guys have made noise. 5 wins in the month of November. I got to go back and check. I don't know if this program has ever done that, and if they have, it's been well over a decade. So at what point? And you talk about Mike DeGeorge's style, and that's something I want to get into. But when Mike told you guys after your Sweet 16 run last year at Mesa that he was taking the job here at Cal Poly, at what point did you decide that? Hey, I'd like to follow you and kind of fulfill my journey or my dream, so to speak, of being a Division I college basketball player and contributing, obviously being in a starting role like you are here now, or were you going to look to maybe be a graduate transfer to the Division I level anyway?
Yeah, I'd say there were a lot of factors that kind of went into that. It was definitely a big surprise when DeGeorge and KV, they were all telling us their plans for next year, because I think we were all hoping to come back for that last year at Colorado, um, to run it back and see what we could do. So I guess immediately it was kind of a change of mindset, where now I'm figuring out, okay, well, what am I going to do? And they extended that offer for me to come join them, which I was very excited about. Obviously, because playing D1 as a scholarship athlete was something that I always wanted to do. Um, and then, but I also felt like I probably owed it to myself to just see what was out there, put my name out there, and see what opportunities could come. But really, just landed on Cal Poly and Coach DeGeorge once again, for just because I know the level of quality of the coaching and the culture, and just like how good they are as people, Coach DeGeorge and his staff. And so I knew that I would have a great experience regardless coming to Cal Poly. And I guess another factor was just each time I kind of went to a new program historically, as a player, it kind of took me a year or two to figure things out. And so just coming with DeGeorge and Coach Bourget, and Coach BJ coming here, I knew the system, and I knew what we were trying to accomplish. And so I was just able to help right away, and be one of those guys that other players are looking up to.
You talk about that system, and I think it's brought a really, I mean, forget the winning. It's brought an exciting brand of basketball to this community and to this program. You look historically at Cal Poly, and I know you're new to this, but Cal Poly in its Division One era, not since the late '90s, early 2000s, have they really been a fast-paced type of team. Now, you guys second in the country right now in average possession length. I mean, you guys are averaging fewer than 15 seconds per possession, and you really put your mind around that. Sometimes it'll take you a second or two to pull down a rebound. So you go a little deeper into those numbers, and by the time you cross the midcourt stripe, sometimes the shot's going up within 6 or 7 seconds. How quickly were you able to pick that up in your time at Mesa? And are you surprised that some of these other guys, and I know there's four of you that came over and followed Mike from Grand Junction to San Luis Obispo, but are you pleasantly surprised at how some other guys like the young freshman Peter Bondel and what Jared Hyder's been able to do? I mean, it just looks so comfortable to them.
Yeah, yeah, it's been great to have those guys. All the guys that have stepped up with the Mesa kids just to kind of figure things out. And I know it was a lot at first, and there was a lot of new concepts. But yeah, I think they've really adapted to the style, and that goes to also show uh, that we recruited the right guys. We made the right choices in recruitment, and those guys were able to adapt quickly to a style that's not as common right now, especially in the Big West. Um, so yeah, so I've been really proud of all the guys, and let's see, yeah, just excited to see this style of play continue to grow, and see how other teams, especially in the Big West, kind of try to figure it out.
Right, because you're going to see everybody twice. So
Mm.
obviously, and I talk to opposing coaches, and it's a very difficult style to prepare for. Like there's enough film on you now to where Stanford had what 8 games to go off of. They had games against, uh, common teams. I would say obviously Cal's an ACC team, but I think talent level wise, St. Mary's, Arizona State, San Francisco, all kind of those 5 games that you played on the road all kind of similar in terms of like where those teams rank in the top 100 and so on and so forth. But it's interesting. I mean, I had Stanford's game against Grand Canyon Wednesday night in Palm Springs, and the Grand Canyon's a great team, but they weren't able to score at will like you guys were in that second half against them up there. 63 points in the second half. What were some of the locker room conversations? Because I didn't, and you'll probably agree with me, I didn't think you guys played all that well in the first half, but you look up and it's a single digit game. So how much confidence did that give you guys knowing like, wow, we really didn't play well, but we're still in this thing. If we do play well, we can get out of here with a win.
Yeah, definitely a lot of confidence. I feel like most games that kind of happens where we have a so-so first half, turning the ball over and that sort of thing. And I guess we're just a second half team right now. Hopefully, we can be two halves team, a 40-minute team. Um, but yeah, I think the fact that we weren't playing our best in that first half, we were still right there. We weren't losing the possession battle too much. We knew that they had a lot of points off of live ball turnovers in that first half. So if we just cleaned up, I mean, that's the game right there. That's 12-point swing. Um, and so we really just talked about taking care of the ball and making the right plays and keep doing what we're doing. And hopefully by that 10-minute mark in the second half, they get tired just because they're not used to running so much, and we can exploit those defensive breakdowns.
Mike DeGeorge, he's for a long time been into the analytical side of basketball, and I feel like just recently, like maybe the last 5, 10 years, we've started to see analytics become a really big part of sports. Whether it's the NBA and taking more threes than two, they say at times a contested three is a better shot than an open mid-range two, and I think Mike really follows that philosophy. Radio voice of the Mustangs, Max Kelton, has coined him Moneyball Mike. What are some nicknames that you guys have come up with for your head coach over the years with just the way he preps, the way he coaches, and the way stylistically that you guys kind of come together?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have a ton of nicknames for Coach DeGeorge. It's really just Coach DeGeorge. Um, but and during practice we keep it very professional. So uh, I think KB, Coach Boget, he likes to be called KB.
Okay.
Everyone has their things that they like to go by, but it's definitely pretty professional and Coach DeGeorge during practicing games.
What about you? Anyone call you okay?
The Big OK has been one,
Like, okay.
historically, or, I mean, there's a lot, like O-Dog or O-Man or just O. At Colorado, all the freshmen were given, like, one-syllable, nicknames, so mine was just O. Um, so, yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of things, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, the O Dog doesn't surprise me. I feel like I've heard that before with some guys whose name starts with O. Who were some of the guys that you tried to maybe model your game after growing up, and who are some guys you enjoy watching now that you feel like you learn from as a player?
Let's see, I mean, so I had thanks to my dad, the Come Fly With Me documentaries with Michael Jordan, and so I would just play those on repeat as a kid, and I just wanted to be just like him, just like Mike. So I definitely modeled my game or tried to emulate the things that he was doing growing up. And I guess that's kind of why I tend to shoot the midi more than um, the average player, or more than Coach DeGeorge likes. Um, but let's see. Yeah, it was all Michael Jordan growing up, and then who's better than LeBron James? By the way, just wanted to throw that out
Yeah,
there.
I was gonna ask him like, so when it comes down to the Braun MJ debates, you always side with Mike.
I have to, but I don't know. I've been getting a little more convinced lately about LeBron.
I
So
mean, the
it's
fact
not
that
set
he's
in
been able to sustain this for this long is pretty
stone.
remarkable.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But so he's obviously one to look up to as well. And there's the flashy players like John Moran, Lamelo Ball that are pretty fun to watch. Not that I'm necessarily trying to play like them, but or the players. I guess in high school, Kawhi Leonard was one. Um, just two-way, athletic. Never got too high, never too low. And then I love watching the Nuggets. So Jamal Murray, MPJ, and Nikola Jokic, those guys I love to watch now, and I'm always trying to improve and implement, things that I think that they're doing well into my own game.
I think you've been watching a lot of Ja because late in that Seattle game, when you tried to put Alexander Moncrief on a poster, and then Matt comes away with the steal, and that kind of won the game for you guys.
Yeah.
I was, I don't want to say I got pleasantly surprised. Like I didn't know that type of bounce. And then you had the tip jam against Eastern Washington, and I was like, "Oh, this is legit. Like he can get up." At what age were you able to dunk a basketball?
I think I was 15 my freshman year. I could dunk, and always wanted to have bounce like Michael Jordan, of course,
Yeah.
in the documentaries. But yeah, I'd say I don't know. Maybe I should. I've probably tried to put like four people on a poster this year, and I haven't gotten one yet. So maybe one's coming, or
Oh,
maybe I
you
should just
gotta,
stop
yeah,
trying.
you gotta keep trying, man. I
Yeah,
mean, that stuff sells tickets and merchandise.
for sure.
I gotta ask because you talk to a lot of people and they're like, the bottom of D1 and the top of D2. There's really not much of a difference. In fact, we see a lot of the top D2 programs. For example, you guys at Colorado Mesa the last handful of years, and other ones that actually compete for championships. D1 schools rarely schedule them, and there's a reason why. I mean, that game doesn't do anything for your resume because it doesn't really count towards what the NCAA would look at as a wins and loss record. But now that you've played a month of Division 1 basketball, excluding the Menlo game, what would you say is the biggest difference between the top of D2 and I mean you've played really good D1 teams. You're going to play worse D1 teams this season, with all due respect to them. But have you noticed much of a difference at all between the two levels?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're refed a little bit differently. There's definitely a lot more physicality allowed and contact allowed in D1. So that's been kind of something to adjust to. Um, the size of the players, absolutely. Bigger, taller guys, stronger guys. Everyone's as strong or stronger than you. So that's been an adjustment, and just learning how to just deal with that. I think you know, the skill is there's a lot thinner of a margin there. I think they're very skilled players in both divisions. So I guess mostly it comes down to just athleticism and just how the game is refed for me.
Oh, interesting to hear because you hear a lot of discussions about it, but rarely do you get to talk to somebody that's played at the top of D2. And and now at a mid-major level. Although the Big West, I'm sure you've been paying attention. I mean, UC Irvine's got top 25 votes this week. Other programs like CSUN, who you'll see this weekend at home, really making some noise here early in the season, and it's good to be in a competitive conference like that. I'm sure it's a challenge you guys are looking forward to. As we kind of put a bow on this, I got to ask, now that you've been, in San Luis Obispo for almost half a year, is this the first time you've lived outside of Colorado in your life? And if so, is it kind of nice to have a subdued winter where you don't have
Mhm.
to deal with snow, or do you like the snow?
Yeah, first time living outside of Colorado, and I'm a Four Seasons guy, so I definitely like having some snow in the wintertime, which I'll be sad that I'll be able to miss. I am going home for a few days for our break, and there hopefully is gonna be a lot of snow up there in Eagle, Colorado. Um, but yeah, so it's definitely nice to be able to wear shorts in the winter, but I definitely also I'm missing the snow, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Last thing, we'll end on hoops. Mention that you feel like this team is just kind of scratching at the surface to what you guys can become. What might that next level look like, and what's it going to take to get there?
It's a good question. Um, I don't know. I think it's just gonna take time. We're we're still getting better every day, and that's all that matters. The next level is gonna be playing even faster. It's gonna be anytime there's somebody open ahead of us on the court, making that pass. So we're just on the defense, make or miss, whatever. If they have a crazy dunk, if they hit a big three, whatever, we're just getting out as soon as we can. We're putting it on them. So everything we're doing right now and everything you're seeing is what is the next level, but just doing it more consistently and at a fast pace.
Well, that's Owen Kuntz, senior of Cal Poly men's basketball, the reigning Big West Player of the Week and the Lou Henson National Player of the Week as well. Had the big 30-point effort to help the Mustangs to their first ever win over an ACC program at Stanford. Owen, appreciate your time. Good luck as conference play commences this week, and we look forward to seeing you back inside the friendly confines Saturday night.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This has been the Mustang Insider Show. The preceding has been a Learfield's presentation on the Cal Poly Sports Network.